In the beginning, it was easy because the humans used wood and straw to build everything. All it took was for the pigeons to drop a few sparks of fire and the buildings will be burned down to ashes. The pigeons wouldn't allow any buildings higher than 2 stories. But each time when the buildings were burnt down, the humans were rebuilt again. They were undiscourageable. And each time they rebuilt, the pigeons would just burn them down. Eventually, the humans got wiser. They started to use stone instead of wood and straw. Stone buildings made it harder for the pigeons to set fire on. So the pigeons decided to disrupt the construction instead. They would peck at the workers' hat, knock down the scaffolding, and even pooped everywhere and make a mess. This slowed down the humans' constructions a bit, but it didn't stop them. And after some years, a great stone cathedral rose higher than any of the trees in London, and that made the pigeons very grumpy. Happily, the Vikings soon came in and took over the city of London. The Vikings never care about tall buildings, and they always leave rubbish everywhere, and that makes the pigeons very happy. But not long after, the Vikings left, and the constructions of tall buildings began. This time, the human chose a high hill and built a massive cathedral. They call it St. Paul's. It was so huge that it dwarfed everything that came before it. Time and time again, the pigeons tried to set fire on St. Paul's Cathedral, but they were not successful because the humans had firefighters that were guarding the cathedral. Frustrated and angry, the pigeons started to set fire on the nearby neighborhoods. Early on the morning, on September 2nd, 1666, a pigeon named Nesmith set fire on a nearby bakery, and a ferocious wind blew. It blew upwards to the hill and burned St. Paul's Cathedral down. The fire was so massive that it burned for 4 days. It not just only destroyed St. Paul's Cathedral, but other churches and thousands of homes. And the city was full of ruins. The pigeons never had wanted such a great destruction, and they started to feel really bad about it. They called for another meeting and started to vote. But this time, half of them voted to leave London. They thought they didn't deserve to stay in London anymore. But the other half thinks otherwise. So they couldn't come to a decision. They called for another meeting the following night. But that night, something happened. Revenge attacks began.